Welcome back to Tech Field Day 9. One of the coolest things about Tech Field Day is when we have new companies presenting for the first time. Obviously, it's great to have all sorts of companies, but the new ones are always fun because people don't really know a lot about them. And even more cool than that is when we have companies presenting that really haven't talked to anybody, except maybe Howard, before. And
Luigi posted a blog post yesterday.
And that's what we've got right now. So we are pleased to take the sheet off and kick the tires of Infinio. And I'm going to hand it over to you. But thank you very much for having faith in this group and the people watching online.
Yeah, well, honestly, thank you to all of you, those of you who are physically in the room here with us today. And also thank you to all the people who are watching the live stream online. To be completely honest, we're honored and thrilled that you take time out of your busy schedules to hear what we have to say, and hopefully we don't disappoint. So our agenda today is actually quite simple. We want to do two things. First, I want to spend a couple of minutes talking to you about the company that's really behind our product, and then I want to turn it over to my colleague Peter to introduce and, more importantly, show you guys the Infinio Accelerator. I don't want to hold you in suspense too long. We've been in stealth a long time, so I'll give you a little bit of a preview by saying the problem we're solving is the problem of storage performance in virtual environments. We make a storage accelerator for virtual environments. But the reason I want to spend some real time talking about the company here, and the reason I think that's important, is because there are other storage accelerators. And what makes us different and what makes us special is actually deeply tied with how we're building our company and the investments we're making as a business. And I think it's important to drive some intuition behind those. But again, I promise it won't take too long on all that. So the way I like to frame the discussion is I always like to start out by telling you guys a little bit about what we're not and what we're not going to talk about. So first and foremost, we are not here to talk about some new fad or some new trend in IT. Those of you who have kids, and even those of you who don't, will know that we've got enough fads in our personal lives between Hello Kitty and Pogs and Beanie Babies. And we're not here to talk about software-defined storage. We're not here to talk about data center in the box. We don't have any term like that we're up here to talk about. No category, no trend. Second thing is we're not here to talk about a hardware company. So that might come as a bit of a surprise when you hear storage acceleration. Generally, you're thinking SSDs, you're thinking hardware, but Infinio is actually a software company. And it's actually one of the things that differentiates us. And lastly, we're not here to talk about something that takes a long, drawn-out sales cycle. Sales guys like this, 9 months to procure and buy. It's nothing like that. And again, these things are really, really core to who we are, not being these different things. So what are we? Infinio is selling and building the low-cost, downloadable software, free-to-try, easy-to-buy option for storage performance. And so our mission as a company is we want to really raise the bar for what ease of use means from a usability perspective and what easy to buy means from a sales and marketing perspective. And again, the theme of my section here is to tell you that that's not something you just wake up and decide. You're going to hear a lot of companies, I'm sure, tell you that they're easy, that they're cost effective. But what I want to drive some intuition behind is the fact that we have made a lot of very specific investments to really deliver on this. Our company is 100% behind our product strategy. So what do I mean? Well, let's start with engineering. This is what our engineering investment looks like. So this is a chart by headcount of where we're putting engineers. And what you'll notice very quickly is we've got as many engineers committed to our installer and our dashboard as we do to our underlying engine. So now think about that for a second. For an early stage infrastructure company, I bet no one else can make that claim. The installers, dashboards, to most people, those are afterthoughts. Those are something that you bolt on to a baked engine, but not for us. For us, that's core to who we are, and that's something we're putting real dollars and real investment behind. And the results show it. When you look at our installation process, it's 10 screens. We have a self-guiding wizard with 9 next buttons or continue buttons in it that you're going to click through. And I think more importantly, the self-guided wizard doesn't ask you to ever control tab or switch to a terminal window or switch to vCenter. We connect to all those things for you, pull in the information you need to make good decisions, and guide you through installing our product. So again, it's one wizard, and Peter's going to show you more of it when he gets into the product, that just guides you right through it. We're not jumping between screens, anything like that. That takes real investment, and we think has real benefit to the administrator. These next two will do together. When you install Infinio, you're not going to reboot any ESX servers. There's no reboots to install our software. In fact, you're going to have 0 seconds of downtime for your workloads. No interruption to workloads. Our software just slides right in. That doesn't just happen magically. That takes real investment. And that's what those engineers are working on. 0 trips to the colo. Again, as a software solution, you don't actually ever have to go to the colo to install us. You can do it right from your Windows or Mac desktop. And like I said, Peter will show you exactly what we mean. The result of all of this? The result of all of this? 30 minutes to faster storage. And we truly mean it. From the time you go to our homepage and say download Infinio, which again, you can do without talking to anyone, you just go there and download it, 30 minutes later, you're up and running with faster storage and faster VMs. You don't have to do any of these things. It's really that easy. So the way a company invests really matters in what it can deliver on the product side. So we're not just making claims, we're actually betting with our money and with our headcount. So the other thing I want to talk about a little bit is sales and marketing. And when I talk to buyers in the community, I think it's something that they focus less on. Everyone wants to talk about product, but one of the messages I'm here to tell you about is a company's distribution strategy actually really, really matters. And so to drive that point home, I've got a chart here where I compare two what I think are representative companies. One's an internet company, and one's a storage company. And what I'm trying to show here is how much money they spend on R&D versus how much money they spend on sales and marketing. And what jumps out at you is two things. One is internet companies, say like Google, Facebook, that type of thing. They spend a lot more on R&D than they do on sales and marketing. Storage companies and other infrastructure type companies spending a lot more on sales and marketing than they are in R&D. That matters to all you guys for two reasons.
Because they pay for lunch.
Yeah, that's right. But I'm happy to buy you lunch as well. So. That matters to you guys for really two reasons. First of all, if you got to afford that high sales and marketing cost, you can't actually have a truly low price point product. You got to pay all that money out, and it's expensive. And secondly, it really matters because think about the innovation that those companies can do, right? If most of the dollars that you guys give them to buy their products are going to paying salespeople versus engineers to build and innovate, that's going to reflect in ultimately what you guys get back out. So again, the distribution strategy of a company really matters, and you don't get to just build it overnight. What we're doing at Infinio on the distribution side is we're trying to sell the way you guys like to buy. We think the IT buyer wants to self-educate, learn about products online, try them out themselves, see how they run in their lab. So we're making it easy to do all that. When you're ready to purchase, we're happy to take a credit card over the internet. In fact, we're pricing at a level where that's going to be doable. Of course, we'll have inside sales reps, folks on the phone to help you through your process, experts to answer your questions as they come up. But the idea is we're really putting it on you guys to self-educate because we think that's what you want. And it helps us to avoid all these sales and marketing costs that the competition has to deal with. Now, again, this is not something you wake up and decide one day. Instead, we've had to build and make real investments to make this happen. We've built, aside from our core product, an entire e-commerce engine. We stitched together 4 or 5 systems like Salesforce, HubSpot, Stripe, Jira, so we can have this fully automated self-serve process. And it's an investment that you can't do overnight. You've got to really put real dollars and real energy behind. And we've done that because our company is behind our product strategy. So to summarize here, I want to show how our whole strategy really hangs together. And the foundation of our strategy relies on 2 things: deep innovation and an intense focus on user experience. When I say deep innovation, it goes all the way back to our roots. Our company was actually spun out of Columbia University. There's a professor there who's our founder and CTO. And what he really did is he and his fellow researchers had came up with an innovative software solution to a hardware problem, fundamentally. And that's why we're not here talking about hardware. Because the ideas that we based our technology on from Columbia, and again, they're more the types of ideas that come from universities and industry, allow us to innovate in a really different new way and have measurable value for all of you. The intense focus on user experience gives us extreme ease of use and time to value. Our product, and again, Peter's going to show it, is so easy to use and so fast at delivering value. And that's because of that engineering investment we made. You take the deep innovation and the intense focus on user experience together, and it allows you to execute with a self-service downloadable model. We know that's something you guys prefer, but beyond the fact that it's something you prefer, it lets us have low sales and marketing costs. And if you think back to that chart comparing the storage vendors to the internet vendors, you know that low sales and marketing costs really matter, and our ability to deliver the lowest price product on the market, and on top of that, a great customer experience. A product you guys genuinely want to use, want to interact with because it's fun. So why bother to be trendy? You know, I'm sure someday someone's going to label what we're doing. They're going to call it something. You know, I don't know if it's software-defined storage. I don't know if it's data center in a box. I don't know what it is, right? But it's not going to be us because they'll think of something, right? But you know, to us, it's being low cost, being easy to use, solving a valuable problem for the administrators. That's what we're about, and we think that's always in style. So we're not really concerned with the marketing labels here. We're here to sell technology. So the last thing I'd like to do is just drive a little bit of intuition for who these people are. You know, I've painted this bold vision here. I've made a lot of claims, and I want you to know that you got a team here who can really execute and get this done. So we were founded in 2011. I mentioned that. We've been at this about 2 years. We were spun out of Columbia University based on university IP. We transferred that technology from Columbia to Infinio, so it's ours. Today we're 27 people strong. And we built a world-class team of engineers from really household names and infrastructure: VMware, NetApp, EMC, Veeam, Endeca, Netezza. You know, successful companies and folks who know how to build high-performance system software. For those of you who've never been in a startup before, 27 people consume about this much beer. Can't really see the picture, but the middle shelf there. Of course, with all of your help, where we're hoping to go is something like here. So,
You just have to hire more people from Wisconsin.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah. You're going to increase the number of people.
beer.
Yeah.
Or will you increase the number of people to drink that much beer? Or will your engineers just spend the day sort of wasted?
Yeah, no, we're just going to keep the headcount constant and uptake the consumption. So far, we've raised about $12 million. And, you know, honestly, the amount doesn't matter here. I mean, the company's well-funded, but I think what's really interesting is who we've raised it from. So behind us, we have Highland Capital Partners. They're investors in companies like Violin Memory, you know, really understand the storage space. Lightspeed Venture Partners, again, investors in Fusion.io and Riverbed, market-leading storage, caching, acceleration type companies. And Bessemer Venture Partners, who in addition to doing great stuff on the storage side, companies like Storewise, they've really differentiated themselves by being a great investor in companies with new disruptive business models, companies like LinkedIn, Skype, Pinterest. And again, typical infrastructure company is not going to say they want to be in that peer group, but we do. Because as much as this is a technology play, this is a business model and customer experience play. And so we really care, and we want to learn from those types of businesses as well. And you've got an experienced executive team here. We've got 7 successful startup runs under our belt. And when I say success, I don't actually say it lightly. Our head of engineering was on the founding team of Endeca, a company bought by Oracle for over $1 billion. Went to Netezza, bought by IBM for $1.7 billion.
Carrie's got 2.
Yeah, Carrie's got a bunch under her belt. Most recently, she was at Veeam, which I'm sure all of you are familiar with, pre-revenued over $100 million in revenue. Similar model, easy to use, downloadable, just works. So we're stacking the deck in our favor, and we're going to execute on this vision that we're promising here.